Good morning, adventurers. Got my coffee. I'm feeling better already. If you haven't had yours yet today, pause the video, go get it now. All right, welcome back. Okay, what I'd like to do today is introduce you to a Homebrew Cleric domain. This is the coffee domain, and it was created by a friend of mine that I game with, Andrith. And what she has done here is taken her love of coffee and transferred it to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Now, this is a homebrew subclass, so if you are a player watching this video, make sure you discuss the options and everything we lay out today with your dungeon master and get their approval before you bring this character to the table. With that being said, as a dungeon master myself, I've looked over everything and I find that this coffee domain is fairly well balanced. Now, it will require some bending as far as spells go, and we'll go over those in just a little bit. But if a player in my game wanted to play this coffee domain cleric, I would work with them to make sure that they're able to do so. So with that being said, what we're going to do in today's video is we are going to explore the abilities of the coffee domain cleric. And then I'm going to introduce you to a character that I created. It will be an 8th level coffee domain cleric by the name of Verona. And that will include the spells as well, because we're going to do a lot of manipulating as far as our spells go. And I am going to build this character primarily on theme. So we are going to go full board coffee. We're just going to coffee theme all over the place. And if you'd like to follow along with these, or if you'd like to look at the Coffee Domain Cleric, there is a link to my website, and the link will provide the abilities and all the information you need to know to create your own Coffee Domain Cleric. It is going to include a link to this video, and it is going to include links to PDFs if you want to print this character out. And I am going to create PDFs for all levels between 1 through 12. So if this is something that you want to use in an upcoming one-shot or a game, all you got to do is go to my website and print it out. And again, thank you to Andrith for allowing me to post this on my website. So let's get started. Let's look at the abilities of the Coffee Domain Cleric. So something to contemplate as this video goes on is, what deity would a Coffee Domain Cleric choose? And using the Forgotten Realms, I've picked 2 of them that I think are pretty decent possibilities. The first being Shantia, goddess of agriculture. It would kind of make sense that she'd take interest in a cleric that was centered on coffee and the harvesting of coffee beans and looking over plants that produce coffee beans. And the second being Lathander, who is the Morning Lord, and in the morning we like to start our day with a fresh cup of coffee. Also, Lathander is, I believe, one of the gods of creativity, which usually is enhanced by drinking coffee in the morning. So those are 2 of the deities that I was thinking. And if there is a different deity that you would consider for a Coffee Domain Cleric, be sure to leave it in the comments below. Now we're going to discuss spells more in a little bit, but let's just take a quick peek at the domain spells that you get by being a Coffee Domain Cleric. First level, Expeditious Retreat and False Life. 3rd level, Blur and Misty Step. 5th level, Haste and Blink. 7th is Aura of Life and Freedom of Movement. And 9th is Awaken and Raise Dead. Now, I believe Andrith has picked a really good group of domain spells that kind of tie into how coffee affects a person, as far as it is a stimulant that speeds you up as far as your mind and sometimes even your body. So Haste, Blink, Blur, and Misty Step are all spells that could derive from having your morning cup of coffee or having too much coffee, or, you're a little speedy and stuff like that. It also ties into an awakening theme, smelling that coffee when you first wake up, and raising the dead. I mean, this, just the power of coffee. So a really good group of domain spells, and we'll talk more about spells here in just a little bit. Let's look at the first ability that we get, and that is Caffeinated. So at first level, when we select this domain, we become immune to the effects of sleep and slow, and gain the benefits of the alert feat. All of it right on theme. Perfect for a Coffee Domain Cleric. You have sleep and slow. You can't be affected by those because, again, coffee is a stimulant. It gets you going. It doesn't let you sleep because you drank too much coffee, and you can't move slow because you're speeding from the coffee, and you're alert because your mind, again, the effects of coffee. So brilliant for first level. I love the caffeinated ability. Channel Divinity, give them decaf. So using our Channel Divinity, we can target a creature of our choice within 30 feet, and they have to make a Constitution saving throw. Now, if they fail this saving throw, they're going to fall unconscious for a minute or until they take damage or somebody takes their action to awaken them. And this is pretty much on theme. We are channeling our inner divinity that they did not have their coffee this morning and they're tired, and so they fall asleep. Or they have drank decaf, so they're not getting that caffeine. So Channel Divinity is depriving them of the caffeine and puts them to sleep. Now at 5th level, we can target a number of creatures equal to our wisdom modifier, provided that they are in range. So give them decaf gets really, really intense at 5th level, and this is kind of like a very, very powerful sleep spell. Our next ability is at 6th level, and that is a cup for a friend. So beginning at 6th level, when we cast a spell that restores hit points and targets only one creature, we can have it target a second creature within range. Fair enough, easy, and pretty cool. I dig it. The next ability is potent spellcasting. So at 8th level, we can add our wisdom modifier to the damage we deal with a cantrip. And you're going to see in a little bit that one of the cantrips I picked, this is going to be super awesome and super on theme. But a really cool domain ability to get at 8th level. And the final ability for the Coffee Domain Cleric is Give It To Me in an IV. Starting at 17th level, we gain the ability to recover our magical energy more quickly. During a short rest, we may choose to regain expended spell slots. The spell slots have a combined level that is equal to or less than half of your cleric level rounded up. You regain the use of this ability with a long rest. Let's go over the character that I built using Andrus Homebrew COFFEE Domain. We'll start with her name. Her name is Verona, and that itself is a coffee reference, so if you know where that comes from, be sure to leave a comment below. I chose the background of Guild Artisan because she is a barista, or before she began her adventuring career, she was a barista at a local coffee shop. I chose Human Variant because I wanted to relate personally to this character, and as a fellow human, I understand the importance of having coffee every morning, and that also gave me a feat at 1st level, and we'll go over what I chose here in just a little bit. Now, I used the standard array for ability scores, and I believe at level 8 I chose a +2 to wisdom. At level 4, I chose an additional feat, but what it ended up being is a strength of 14 because she is a cleric with a mace, a dexterity of 12 to get that +1 on the armor class, a constitution of 14, feeling that she is a fairly healthy person, and intelligence was kind of my dump stat, which doesn't make a lot of sense, I guess, as far as being a coffee cleric. You would think that she'd be a little bit smarter than that, but I kind of wanted it in the middle. And I'm going to say the same with the charisma of 10. Intelligence and charisma, I wanted in the middle to kind of show that before coffee, she might not be as smart or as nice. After coffee, smarter and nicer. So in a role-playing situation, having intelligence and charisma right in the middle like that, I can use that to have before coffee and after coffee. And then, of course, wisdom will eventually be an 18, which is her prime requisite for being a cleric. She's sitting at an armor class of 17, 60 hit points, and her background stuff, personality traits, I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing right. I can't help it. I'm a perfectionist. I will tie this into her always wanting to brew that perfect cup of coffee. Ideals is freedom. Everyone should be able to pursue his or her own livelihood. Bonds, I owe my guild a great debt for forging me into the person I am today. Again, she's going to look back at being a barista and working in the coffee shop as a positive in her life. And the final one, flaws. I'll do anything to get my hands on something rare or priceless. And as far as her backstory goes, she is going to be looking for a rare type of coffee bean, and she wants to eventually find this and make some fantastic, either magical or just outstanding, amazing coffee brews with it. So in her backstory, I'm going to include that she's looking for this, and I'll include it in her flaws, that she's going to do just whatever she can to find this very rare, almost mythical coffee bean. At 8th level, our weapons, we've got a mace, which is a +5. It deals 1d6 plus 2 bludgeoning. And here is my first step into twisting our cantrip. So I chose Acid Splash as a cantrip. Now I know that's for wizards, and again, like I said, we need to work this out with our dungeon master as far as being able to include spells from other classes so that it fits the theme that we're going for. And as far as Acid Splash for Verona, I am going to twist that a little bit where it is a hot coffee splash. And in fact, she is going to she's going to have this coffee mug, and this coffee mug is going to just magically bond to her belt. So she can reach and grab her coffee mug anytime she wants, and she can just let go of it, and it automatically goes right back to her belt. So with Acid Splash, I'll just have her, boom, her coffee cup comes up, and she just flips the coffee out of her cup with a range of 60 feet. So this is a little bit out there, but it's going to be super fun anyway. And just, whip this coffee at people, and it's going to be burning hot, and it will cause acid damage. And at 8th level, we get a +7 to that, and we get 2d6 plus 4 acid damage. And looking down here in our equipment, you can see that shield, scale mail, the coffee pot with mug, fresh ground coffee, and the deity that I chose for Verona was Shantia, and the holy symbol of Shantia, goddess of agriculture, is on her magical coffee cup, and it can magically fly up to her hand and retract to her belt when she is done using it. Off to the left here, you can see that we've got an herbalism kit, since she is going to try and harvest her own coffee beans and things like that. I thought that was an adequate tool for her to have. Her deity and languages are actually irrelevant on this build. Also on the left hand side, you can see the passive perception is 22, and that is going to tie into the skills that I picked. So off to the right, we've got caffeinated, which is our first level coffee domain ability, which means we're immune to sleep and slow. We also, at first level, being a coffee domain cleric, we get the alert feat, so that gives us a +5 to initiative, and with our dexterity, that is going to put us at a +6. That's pretty impressive. We cannot be surprised, and other creatures do not get advantage on attacks when unseen. Very cool. And as explained just a few moments ago, as a human variant, I chose a feat, and the feat that I chose was observant. I feel that after a morning cup of coffee, she's going to be fairly alert, fairly observant. And what this does was, this gave me a +1 to wisdom, and allows her the ability to read lips, and a +5 bonus to passive perception and investigation. But again, just going on the theme of coffee, making you a more observant person because your senses are heightened. So we've got the observant feat because of a human variant. Our channel divinity at level 8, we get 2 of them per rest. We've got our turning undead in there, and we've got the give them decaf ability from our coffee domain, which allows us to, with our wisdom modifier, we can put up to 3 creatures within 30 feet. We can drain them of caffeine and knock them unconscious. The feat that I chose, I think I chose this at level 4, is the Warcaster feat, and I did this because I would like for her to have a shield and a mace, and with all the tricks that I'm doing with her coffee cup, I want her to be able to use the somatic components of her spells while having her hands full, and so that's why I chose Warcaster feat. This gives us an advantage on our Constitution saves for concentration. We can do the somatic components with our hands full pretty much, and on an opportunity attack we can use our reaction to cast a spell if a spell is only 1 action and targets just 1 creature. So instead of swinging with our mace as an attack of opportunity, we can throw hot coffee in their face, which I think is just excellent. And we have Cup for a Friend. And again, this is a spell that restores hit points to a second creature if our spell only targeted 1 to begin with, and that is from the coffee domain. And then finally, potent spell casting, where we get to add our wisdom modifier to cantrip damage. And again, our hot coffee splash, this is awesome because instead of just getting a 2d6, we get a 2d6 plus 4 because it's adding our wisdom. So really cool. As we scroll down here, a little bit of backstory. Verona worked as a barista at a local university, saved up money, bought her own coffee cart. She wants to expand her coffee chain and is looking to adventure and share her brews. She's in search of the Arabica, however you say that, the Arabica coffee bean. Legend says this is one of the most delicious coffee beans known. She has also read that there is a mystic roasting process that could help give her coffee magical properties. So maybe she learns how to do a French roast or something like that. So that is going to be included in part of my backstory for this character. And now we come to spells. We've got our spell casting ability of Wisdom. At level 8, we have a DC of 15 and a spell attack bonus of +7. The cantrips that I chose, and here we go. This is where we need our help from the Dungeon Master to approve these on-theme spells. The cantrips. Number 1, Acid Splash, which is actually a hot coffee splash, as previously explained. I chose Light, just because to have light as a human is always a good thing. Produce Flame. That is a druid cantrip, but if we are camped out, we are going to need to warm up our coffee. We've got a coffee pot. We can produce flame and brew us some coffee in the morning. And at 4th level, Verona is going to learn how to cast Prestidigitation, and that is another wizard cantrip, but she's going to be able to use this to flavor her coffee, so she can brew a cup of coffee in the morning, and she can have it vanilla flavored, caramel flavored, pumpkin spice, whatever she'd like to do. And again, we previously went over the domain spells, so now what I'd like to provide is just some ideas of what spells could be on theme as far as our coffee domain. So we've already got Expeditious Retreat and False Life at 1st level. Those are always prepared. So a few more that I suggest are Goodberry. That's a druid spell. And instead of berries, they could be coffee beans. So coffee beans that heal 1 point of damage for each one eaten. We can have Create Water. Again, we're going to need fresh water to brew coffee every morning. And Cure Wounds as a cleric. Instead of just laying on hands to cure some hit points, maybe we give them a sip of some delicious light roast. 2nd level spells, again, we have Blur and Misty Step as far as always being prepared for us, but here's some more on theme ideas. We could do Calm Emotions. That is a cleric spell of 2nd level. Everyone's calmer after a cup of coffee. And Dragon's Breath. This is found in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and instead of a traditional Dragon's Breath, we're going to have a coffee breath weapon that will deal scalding acid damage. Again, I love staying on theme in these character builds. Possibilities for level 3 spells on theme: Revivify, the healing power of a strong cup of coffee, brewed fresh with holy water. 4th level, some more on theme ideas. Again, the domain spells are listed here that you can look at. These are always prepared when you're able to cast them at that level. But for 4th level, a few more ideas would be, I don't know how to say that, but it is in Xanathar's Guide to Everything else, or Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Vitriolic Sphere. And this will be a 20-foot radius explosion of piping hot Java. And I believe that is all that I went for as far as on-theme spells. That is the Homebrew Coffee Domain for the Cleric. And a special thanks again to Andrith for allowing me to spotlight this Homebrew subclass on my channel, and not only that, for allowing me to post it on my website. So if you'd like more information or to go over things and have it as a reference, go to wallydm.com. The link will be below. And also don't forget that I've done PDFs for this character, levels 1 through 12. So if you're playing in a one-shot or starting a new game, you're more than welcome to print out that PDF and use this character as you see fit. So that's all I have for you today. What did you think of the Coffee Domain Cleric? And if you were to consider spells, either spells that already exist as they are to include that are on theme with coffee, or what spells would you twist a little bit, like we did with Acid Splash, making it hot coffee, or with Good Berries, making it coffee beans. What spells would you twist or make to fit this theme? Looking forward to seeing some awesome comments down below. Don't forget, if you haven't joined my Discord channel, to follow the link in the notes section and come hang out with us. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it. Hopefully you got your fresh cup of coffee this morning. Thanks for watching, and on to the next.